Greetings from South Korea. I am Arirang News AI anchor. Here is the news-making headlines today. President Lee Jae-myung held a summit with Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk at the Blue House on Monday. Lee and Tusk agreed to upgrade South Korea and Poland's strategic partnership to a comprehensive strategic partnership. As expected, defense ties were at the center of the talks. Beyond defense, the two sides are set to expand cooperation in energy, infrastructure, and high-tech industries. Also discussed was coping with the fallout from the war in the Middle East. The summit wrapped up with an official lunch featuring a blend of Korean and Polish cuisine. As tensions escalate amid failed ceasefire negotiations between Washington and Tehran, the U.S. will begin enforcing a maritime blockade on all vessels entering or leaving Iranian ports within hours. The U.S. Central Command announced the measure on Sunday, saying the blockade will begin at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. The blockade will not apply to ships that are destined for ports outside of Iran. The move is allegedly seen as a countermeasure to Iran's continued control of the Strait of Hormuz despite a ceasefire agreement. Iran strongly condemned the decision, with its parliamentary speaker warning that Tehran would respond by fighting back. He also added that the blockade could drive global oil prices higher, inherently affecting American consumers. After ceasefire talks collapsed, Trump's next move was to announce a U.S. blockade targeting Iranian ports and vessels. With Iran closing off a key shipping route and Washington's blockade, traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has become increasingly disrupted. Brent crude futures jumped 8.7% from the previous session to above $103 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude also surged by roughly 8.7%, nearing $105 a barrel. With Middle Eastern crude accounting for 70% of imports, South Korean refiners and petrochemical companies face an imminent supply cliff. The domestic aviation sector is also bracing for the shock. For airlines, where fuel constitutes a significant portion of operating budgets, the financial impact is severe. South Korea's National Assembly wrapped up its three-day interpellation session on Monday, with Prime Minister Kim Min-seok and key cabinet members facing wide-ranging questioning on education, society, and cultural affairs. Political tensions ran high as lawmakers raised concerns about political bias in investigations, a particularly charged issue ahead of the June 3rd local elections, with ministers pledging stricter standards in election-related cases going forward. Domestic policy also came under the spotlight, with education among the topics raised, including proposals for a student-specific restricted phone to curb excessive smartphone use. BTS has made U.S. music charts history as their fifth studio album Arirang sits on top of the Billboard 200 for a third consecutive week. According to Billboard on Sunday, the album held off strong competition from Morgan Wallen's I'm a Problem and Ye's Bully. This marks the first time any K-pop act has spent 3 weeks at number 1. The previous best was 2 non-consecutive weeks achieved by the soundtrack to K-pop Demon Hunters. The Billboard 200 ranks albums based on overall consumption, including physical sales and streaming. With this milestone, BTS also becomes the first group in 13 years to spend 3 weeks at number 1. That is all from me today. Thank you for watching.